Hi, and welcome to another Huddle Breakdown Extra Time. Joined as ever by James. And guess who's back? Back again. Alan's back. Tell a friend. Welcome back, Alan. Great to see you in the Huddle Breakdown Extra Time, my friend.
Well, I thought, if Kieran Tierney's going to make the effort to come back, I thought I better come back eventually. So good to be back. Good to be back. I think there's only so much time you can be sort of travelling and having fun, isn't there?
Were you in the same flight as Paul McStay?
Oh, well, he would have been front. He'd have been front of plane, So
as if you weren't.
Didn't see him, no.
Well, I was just thinking that's the Fun Boy 3 back again there, that's superb. So I'm going to leave that door wide open for you, Alan, throughout the show to fire a few song lyrics in whenever you like, okay? I know you like your music, mate. I know you like your music. So an awful lot to get into today as ever. So I watched with interest the discussion you two guys had at the start of the week, obviously talking about the game against St Mirren, the unfurling of the flag and so forth. So a few points to pick up from that. From there, I think we'll be looking at maybe a few individual performances, which has maybe got a few people talking there as well. While you were away, James put together some quite interesting material. Don't look surprised, they really did, honestly. Player trading and profit and so forth. So maybe kind of look at the impact of that. I thought it was a really interesting piece. So thanks ever so much for that, James. And we'll also then go on to have a wee bit of a look, if time allows us, to look at what's happening across the city. And James has already kind of alluded to maybe some similarities to when our Australian manager Ange was over here as well. So it's all coming together. And obviously looking at Aberdeen at the weekend and Poetry Corner as well. So I think let's get right into it, I suppose. Quite a few talking points from it. We haven't made many signings. I don't know if you've been watching, Alan, on the other side of the world, but not a lot's been happening. In terms of one that has gone through a few weeks back, Nygren, good pre-season. What did you think of his performance at the weekend?
Yeah, obviously, as I keep saying, as much as I'll reserve any kind of conclusions until he racks up a good number of minutes, sort of around about 900,000 maybe. It's always fun to have a first impression, and you only get one chance to do that and all that. So it was great to see him, in competitive action. I guess the first thing to say is, aside from all the data stuff, so just looking at him from let's call it with a scouting hat on, no data. He's a good-looking player in terms of he's one of these players that he plays in a very upright stance. He plays with his head up, and he's what I call a well-organised player. And what do I mean by that? It means wrapped within that phrase, well-organised, is he looks like he's got the mixture of balance, which I think is a vital commodity for a top-end player. And balance manifests itself in being. We'll see. We'll talk about his kind of ball progression a little bit. A good first touch, which again is another first thing I look at. His body shape on receipt of the ball looked good to me, and so sort of technically and physiologically, as a footballer, he just looked like a good player to me in that sense, and he seemed to have reasonable speed across the ground as well. And not particularly heavily involved in physical duels, and he's quite sort of slight of build, I would say. But in terms of the key things I look at when I look at any player at any level: first touch, balance. Do you play with your head up? Are you aware of what's going on around you? How you receive the ball? All those kind of things. I liked kind of what I saw. And obviously he was played in that number 8 position, which predominantly was filled by Arne Engels last season and Matt O'Reilly before him. And really, I guess stylistically, you would put him more in the Matt O'Reilly camp, both left-footed as well, of course, which helps. He's probably a little bit swifter on the ball, but maybe not quite as robust in the challenge. Even though he was an attacking player, He seemed to me to be quite diligent. His recovery runs were good. He filled in the right places. He got back, and I think that was really emphasising that because of the attacking nature of the role that he was given. So come to a bit of data first of all. So I've got a slide here showing you really his positioning in the game, which is again that classic sort of number inside forward, a little bit of width the game, but not really getting beyond the box in terms of overlapping the winger or overlapping the fullback, actually, because I don't think the winger on that side actually went past that line at any point in the game. But Alistair Johnson did time and time again. So he didn't seem to overlap really. It was more underlapping. But you can see that where a lot of his activity was in that sort of inside right sort of channel. And his numbers weren't spectacular, but they were in the 78 minutes he was on the pitch. He ranked top for shots on target. He had a decent XG. His overall expected scoring contribution 0.57 was the third best in the team. His attacking threat score was the fifth. None of these are amazing, but they're all kind of the one that I would probably call out of these really is and there's no golden bullet sort of metric as we keep saying, but there's some are more important than others. One that is very important to me is defenders packed, which means how many defenders are you taking out of the game? Because really, once you're taking defenders out of the game, you really are kind of rocking and rolling as far as unsettling the opposition. And he was second on that metric behind Liam Scales, who had a fine game. But he took 6 defenders out the game there. So other bits of data which I would call out is he was actually second in the team. And again, remember, he only played 78 minutes. Second in the team in terms of number of pressures and also counter pressures, and his duration of pressing, the intensity of his pressing was kind of in line with all the other players as well. So he seemed to have that to his game as well. So that's kind of him as a player and his individual contribution. The other aspect of this really is, how is he going to be used? So I've just got a little picture here just to show. These are all within the first 7 minutes, meaning it didn't take me very long to make this point, which is the guy is going to be the one that seemed to be going to crash the box. Basically, he's going to be the one. He was often, as the chart showed, he was often central. He was often just behind, or even alongside at times Adam, Idah. All of these series of play in the third, the sixth, the fifth, the sixth minutes are where Celtic are attacking. Maida got a cross in, Johnson got a cross for Idah, Tierney had a shot, and Nygren is circled. He's really the one midfielder that's outside of the forwards who's actually breaking into the box. And this, he didn't actually get any touches of the ball in the box until the near half time when he had that shot, which produced that incredible save from Jamal George. And then he had the follow-up header. There were his only 2 touches in the box. But I think what we're seeing here is that he is the one that is going to be tasked with doing that sort of box crashing. And I think one of the deeper conversations, more rounded conversations that then leads on to is, what does that mean? What is that telling us about how the midfield's going to shape up in general? And I think my main takeaway from the game was that McGregor will do what McGregor does. His role didn't really change that much. But Hatate seemed to be kind of playing a lot more deeper and being that sort of deep creative player, which I think James and I are in agreement that's probably his best role. And then Nygren is the one who's going to be expected to, as I say, crash the box, get in and support Idah, get into central positions. The guy scored 16 goals last season. He's averages nearly 0.4 goals per 90 minutes in his career in top flight league football. So that makes sense. That seems to be using somebody to his best sort of his best attributes. That's all. I think that's all positive. As I say.
We hope you enjoyed this free preview from all of us here at the Huddle Breakdown. We know you have options and we really appreciate you tuning in. To hear the rest of this episode and for much more Huddle Breakdown content, head on over to www.huddlebreakdown.com. We hope you consider subscribing. Thank you.